Plastic straws might make up only 0.025% of the world's plastic pollution, but they make up 100% of the sea turtle, whose name is, obviously, Shelby. Hi, I'm Pygmalion, and not only am I among Aphrodite's top 10 least favorite kings, but I also made this sea turtle out of approximately 3,000 plastic straws. I mean, you know what they say, you are what you eat. One of the most important things about sea turtles is that they swim. So to make Shelby's flippers, I'm going to weave a bunch of straws together. It's easier to do this if they're pre-folded. And let's also chop off these edges so the straws end in a point. And then also tenderize them a little bit. Think of it like stretching before a big game so you don't accidentally fracture your femur. Or, in this case, the side of a straw. And instead of the big game, it's the big square dance. To start off the weaving pattern for this flipper, you're going to take 4 straws and they're going to mosey on down to the square dancing ring. And they're going to, swing their partners round and round and yeehaw, etc., until they interlock into this sort of square weave pattern. And that's why I called it square dancing. But don't worry if they lose a cowboy boot or hat in the thick of everything, because as far as scientists are aware, sea turtle flippers don't actually have little tiny cowboy hats or boots on it. I know that is a very tragic fact to learn, but we must persist in making this flipper. Once the first 4 straws have successfully formed a square, 3 more partners will mosey on down and make another square, and then another, and another, and another. In total, about 271, give or take, plastic straws joined in on the square dance. And they are interlocked eternally in this writhing mass of square dancing straws to form this sea turtle's front flipper. Cool, so let's trim off these extra bits of straw that are dangling from the woven part. And I'm going to seal up the edges of Shelby's flipper with a little bit of hot glue. Okay, so you know what? That was actually a lot of work to weave all those straws together, so I'm just gonna take a little shortcut to weave together the second flipper. Okay, perfect. Now for the back flippers, we only need about 154 straws because they're a little bit stubbier. Let's get all of these extra dangly bits off. Okay, cool. There's something stuck on this. Oh, perfect. We have all of our flippers now. Something else crucial about sea turtles is that they have shells. Okay, well, they're technically called carapaces, but that sounds like insecty, and let's be honest, Shelby is a way cuter name than carapacey. The different plates of the shell that I'm putting together now are called scoots, or sometimes scutums. To make each scoot, I hot glued a layer of straws together, and I am smushing the line of hot glue between another straw that I've added for extra security. The straws that I'm using to fasten the scoots together are actually going to show through the top of the scoot a little bit, because not only are the straws translucent, but the alcohol ink that I'm going to use to color everything is also translucent, so I am making sure to put them in a nice looking pattern. And once the straws are glued together, I chop them into shape. There are 5 scoots in the middle of the shell, and they're flanked by 4 lateral scutums on each side. And this is how all of the scoots look after being chopped up. Okay, but actually, let me show you how these straws got chopped off, because it's actually incredibly beautiful. And yes, they did get everywhere, including almost hitting me in the eye several times, but that's the sort of sacrifice I'm willing to make for my beloved Shelby. Cool, so these are all the scoots in place, and trust me, they're going to look quite a bit better once they're colored, but I'm going to whip them into shape before I actually paint them, so that all of the bits of hot glue that I use to strap them together will get colorful too, and I don't have to go out and pour alcohol ink on this like 4 separate times. I just lash all of the scoots together by hot gluing straws from one piece to the other, kind of like bridging them together, but in a significantly less well-engineered way because it's plastic straws and hot glue. As you can see, I'm kind of jamming my feet and my ankles under each of the pieces that I'm gluing so they will attach to each other at an angle because we want for Shelby's shell to be voluminous and round like a turtle shell and not just like flat like a bath mat. And then around all of the scoots of the shell, sea turtles have this sort of rim, and to mimic that, I'm lining up a bunch of straws around the edge and then gluing them together with hot glue. Sort of looks like a tutu, which is very fabulous. I'm following the outlines of a template that I had drawn up in Adobe Illustrator, and I had transferred that digital drawing to the physical world using my Cricut machine. Because of the scaffolding straws kind of poking through, I did go and color all of them with some aqua blue alcohol ink before I painted everything else up. And this was just kind of to emphasize the starburst pattern. And in between all of these pieces of aqua blue straw, I added a darker green alcohol ink, which will also just add a little bit of depth to the pattern. And you can see how this adds just a subtle amount of dimension once I flip the shell over and start adding the alcohol ink along the top side. And all of these scoots I'm painting, or I guess since I'm using alcohol ink, it's inking. Anyway, I'm coloring it with a combination of aqua blue and lime green alcohol ink. I took all of this stuff out to a small strip of gravel behind my house, which could be considered a backyard, I guess. Yeah, I took this all out to the backyard to color because I didn't want to stain my floor or my furniture or my dog, and I didn't want to die from inhaling fumes either. But yeah, I love how all the straws of the shell look together. It kind of looks like the banded screens of a CRT TV. I think it's really cool. And it also helps once the ink dries down a little bit and there's less of a shine and a glare, so you can see the distinct ridges of each of the straw and it's less like the sheen. But yeah, it's a really interesting effect, but I think the flippers end up looking even cooler. Just watch how amazing the ink looks as it spreads over the flippers. But yeah, man, I love how the flippers turned out. They just ended up looking like malachite or a green agate. It's so cool. It was worth all of that weaving. It was worth getting stuck in the hand by all those pokey straws. Oh, and with the translucentness of the straws and the ink, they catch the light so beautifully. I'm definitely going to put Shelby by a window. So, fun fact about sea turtles, they actually aren't able to retract their heads into their shells. And this means that sea turtles are the most susceptible of all turtles to the guillotine. So sea turtles, you better not upset the 18th century proletariat of France. Just saying, your neck is very exposed. Oh, and speaking of which, this is Shelby's noggin. She looks very silly without the eyeballs or the bottom of her face, but I didn't attach the bottom of her face yet because it is going to be white, because sea turtle's bottom jaw is like white. And so it's just going to be made out of plain uncolored straws because altogether they look more or less white. And the underbelly, or the plastron of Shelby, is also going to be plain uncolored straws as well, and I assembled them together pretty similarly to how I did the rim of the shell. I just laid them all down and then glued them together with some hot glue. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't too worried about how this part was gonna look, just wanted there to be a belly. So yeah, after gluing all of the flippers and the head and the underbelly all onto the shell, yeah, Shelby is ready to go. Shelby's here. Shelby is a beautiful debutante at a square dancing ball. But yeah, she is made up of, give or take, 3,000 plastic straws. Over the course of the 2 or so weeks I was making her, I ordered 6 boxes of 500 disposable plastic straws. And I used pretty much all of those. It's a little bit less than 3,000, but let's just round up because that's a better title. Cool. And there you have it. That's how you make a beautiful sea turtle out of plastic straws. So how can you not like sea turtles? So since we are all in agreement that we all like sea turtles, that means by definition you have to like this video and also subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have already, just unsubscribe and then resubscribe just because it's fun to click buttons, right? Yeah. Okay, bye.